My name is Linda Alfiori and I am your host. Today's program is about the number one secret to overcome painful changes in life. If you are new to my podcast, you probably wonder what is my expertise. I am a writer, inspirational speaker, and the author of The Art of Loving Again, an empowering book that will help you to overcome a breakup, divorce, the death of a loved one, major depression, the loss of a job, the loss of your business, etc. Before we continue, I want to make a disclaimer. This is not a professional advice, but a healthy spiritual approach to deal with painful changes in life. Now more than ever before, this book and this subject are relevant. Too many people are facing so many changes at once, like the loss of a job, the loss of their business, the loss of a loved one, major depression, anxiety, uncertainty, etc. That's why I decided to make this podcast and create awareness in people so they protect their mental health and become emotionally stronger. I have life experience in this subject since I had faced many painful changes at once in the past, and I know how dangerous this could be for your health and well-being. There are 4 myths that affect people's grieving and healing and the way they deal with painful changes in life. 1. Some people try to be strong and unconsciously repress their negative emotions to prevent feeling the pain. The problem with this is that their negative emotions take over them and control them. The person might lash out at everyone at their first mistake or feel that he or she doesn't have control over his or her emotions and overreact. Number 2, some others think that time will heal. Time will heal as long as they take action while time is passing. Healing requires action. Number 3, some therapists will tell you about the 5 stages of grieving: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. These stages were observed in terminally ill individuals and represent the way they deal with illness and dying, but they are not a way of grieving. So, because you are a fully alive individual, you need to learn how to grieve and heal to enjoy life again. You cannot passively observe these stages. You need to take action to become emotionally stronger. Number 4, some people tell you to not talk about the problem or the way you feel so you don't feel the pain. By not talking about your painful feelings or deal with them, you prevent yourself from healing and moving forward. Not only you need to talk about your upset feelings, but you also need to explore them in writing. Cry all you need and let it go. We cannot always control the events that we face in life, but we can always control the way we deal with our emotions and heal. The number one secret to overcome painful changes in life is explained here in more detail. When we experience a critical change in our lives, we feel 7 transitional emotions: sadness, hurt, anger, betrayal, deception, fear, and sorrow. I call these transitional emotions because they appear after every painful change. But once you focus on exploring and processing them in writing, crying all you need and letting it go, they will disappear completely. This process have to be done daily for several months to a year. The more painful changes you had faced in the past, the more repressed feelings you have, and the longer it will take to fully let go. However, you will start feeling happier and more peaceful since the first day you start processing your emotions. Say you were abandoned as a child, you faced a painful breakup in high school, you got divorced as an adult, you lost your job, you lost your business, and now you were mandated to be in a quarantine. You probably feel overwhelmed. You might even start feeling depressed. When you start processing your feelings, it's like you are removing all the negative weight of negative emotions. You start feeling lighter and lighter. Your vision is clear and you start seeing opportunities. You feel motivated, goal-oriented, and happier. This is, in fact, the most effective way to grieve and heal. What happens if you don't do anything and just wait for the time to pass and see what happens? Well, you might end up experiencing chronic depression for a long time. You might stay stuck in the victim's mentality, anger, fear, apathy, or become unproductive. You might unconsciously start self-destructing yourself by becoming addicted to drugs or alcohol to numb your pain. I had the opportunity to interview people in Skid Row in Los Angeles, where many homeless people live and where many shelters and social services for them are located. And I was surprised to discover that almost every single one of them were there because they went through one or many painful changes in their lives. Some of them many at once. Others were stuck in anger for decades. Many in the victim's mentality because they never processed their hurt. Some others were self-destroying themselves using drugs or alcohol to numb their pain. Some others were there because they developed mental illness. I can relate to that because I personally went through painful changes in a short period of time, like divorce, the death of a loved one. Soon after that, my close family members and friends moved out of town and out of the country due to better job opportunities. Then I lost my job and I was diagnosed with major depression. The most interesting thing about my story is that as soon as I got divorced, I went to see a therapist to help me to overcome it. Like many other therapists, she told me about the 5 stages of grieving, and after a few sessions, she told me that I was ready to go on my own. I trust her and I stopped going to see her. However, within months, I started developing major depression. For those who are not familiar with this illness, major depression affects everything. Your mood, your concentration, your decision making, pretty much everything. I was shocked to realize that a painful change in my life could affect my health in such a drastic way. I have always been very healthy, so it was a wake-up call to telling me that I shouldn't rely on others. My psychiatrist explained me that major depression is caused by major changes in life, stressful situations, and a chemical imbalance in the brain. From there, everything started to make sense. After my loved one died, I will wake up every day very early, around 3 in the morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep. I didn't realize how serious it was, and I didn't do anything. Little by little, I was feeling more and more exhausted, overwhelmed, irritable. I remember being in a fancy restaurant with my kids and feeling extremely exhausted. I just couldn't enjoy it. My doctor wanted to prescribe me medication, but since I saw how the medication worsened my sister and my brother-in-law's symptoms, I decided that I wouldn't take it. They were feeling angry, sad, irritable, and started gaining weight. Then I saw how my sister started doing exercise and feeling happier, looking more attractive, being more confident and more outgoing. So I asked my psychiatrist if exercise and talk therapy could help me to recover, and he told me yes. So that's what I did. I was doing 2.5 hours of exercise every day, sometimes 3 hours. My kids remember that stage of our lives as one of the most active and fun, and I do too. But it took me more than 2.5 years to fully recover. Of course, with the exercise, my sleep improved and my mood, and I looked better than in my teenage years. My stomach was absolutely flat. My story has a happy ending, and I remember that time in my life as one of the best because I focused on a healthy approach. 10 years later, I saw on Accent Health a news about insomnia. The reporter said that after a divorce, separation, or the death of a loved one, most people develop insomnia. And when that happens, it is important that they bring their sleep routine back to normal by doing 2.5 hours of exercise daily. Quite often at the beginning, you can do only 10 to 15 minutes if you were inactive for a long time. When I at first start exercising again, I was able to do just 10 minutes at a time. It took me a couple of months to increase it to 45 minutes, and then another couple of months to increase it to 2.5 hours. So talk to your doctor before you start any exercise and increase the time gradually. You can do activities that you truly enjoy at home, like dancing, yoga, Pilates, belly dance, etc. You can find so many videos on YouTube to learn many amazing ways to exercise. After I healed from major depression, I experienced many other painful changes. And I saw many therapists to help me to overcome them, but they couldn't do it. I saw more than 10 therapists. They couldn't help me there because they didn't have the knowledge or experience. So I decided to take matters into my hands and start researching and looking for the answers that I needed to prevent risking my health again. So I read books on psychology, spirituality, religion, science, you name it. I wanted to find the answers to my questions: how to deal with painful changes in a healthy way. What could I have done differently to prevent developing major depression? How could I process my feelings to let it go and feel happier again? How could I prevent getting stuck in negative emotions like hurt, anger, helplessness, etc.? How could I feel more motivated? How could I alleviate my emotional pain in a healthy way when I am facing painful changes? How can I process my feelings to fully let go? How could I become emotionally stronger? What could I do to prevent getting stuck in apathy and becoming unproductive? How could I use my healing approach to become more productive while I am healing? It took some time. To my good luck, I continue facing many painful changes, and I have the opportunity to test my approach again and again until I perfect it. That's why I am broadcasting this podcast, to create awareness in people so they opt for a healthy spiritual approach to keep their sanity and learn how to deal with these present changes in a healthy and spiritual way.